Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Manu, and this is my KI Season 3 mini-series. Now, we're going to go over System Part 2. We'll get right into it so you guys don't yell at me about anything. But first things first, let's go over what I said I was going to go over in Season 1. So, the first thing we got to go over is the combo breaker system and the way it works now. So, the combo breakers that now cause flip out are in between +1 and +2 and -1 instead of soft knockdowns. Basically go in tandem with the same thing that you can no longer instinct cancel from a combo breaker, as well as the air combo breakers that now cause blowout. This is a big change because of two reasons. Because it essentially resets the neutral for one thing. It allows it so that the person that you're going against, you can either get a good mix up on, or you can it allows you to get a good mix up on, or it allows you to basically reset the neutral and go back to normal. This is a big change from the way it used to be, which was some characters had a recapture like Saberwolf and TJ, who could basically get, quote, I don't want to say free damage because it's never free damage if you combo break, but if you have a combo breaker. But the thing about it is, essentially, if people didn't know how to combo break and you combo broke them, instinct canceled, shadow something that recaptured, which if you guys didn't know what a recapture is, it essentially puts people back on the ground after a juggle so that you can continue a combo. And characters like TJ had the ability to do that, and so they would, if the person didn't combo break, or if the person combo broke, he basically got the brunt of it because of he would get basically free damage tacked on. So the way it worked before is it went from, it's now a very heavy neutral setting to a very from a very, I got you, I did a combo, oh shit, he combo broke me, oh, now I'm gonna get fucked up. Like, it went from that to, okay, now we're back in the neutral, he can do a surprise mix-up where he can get a good read on me if I mess up, but I can also make a good read on him, and it just changes up the pacing of Killer Instinct a lot. And I actually really like this change, and if you haven't seen any of the exhibitions, you'll see how fast the game is now because of this. Another thing that I didn't go over, and I wanted to go over, is the shadow counter startup time and the active frames, and the 7+ active frames and the 10 additional frames on recovery. And the reason this is a big change is because Keith saw this and he was like, shadow counters are not being utilized as they should be. They're not as active as they should be, and some characters had some really shitty fucking shadow counters, let's be honest, to the point where they would literally always get stuffed, and that was the problem. So with the 8 frames now starting up, instead of, like the random how many ever frames there was on certain characters, now it makes it so that it's equal across all playing fields, making it so that it's harder to stuff. And this is why in shadow counters in Season 3 is going to be really predominant, especially against people who can read the situation right and can react really quick. And that's because of how good shadow counters are. Not only do they start up faster, making it harder for you to get stuffed, so if someone did like a wind kick, you did a shadow counter at the very end, but it was still active and it got hit with the hitbox frame, and then he did a low jab right after to stop you, that shit don't fly anymore all the time. It's very rare that will happen. The increased window during the shadow frames, which is 7 now, basically make it easier for you to, if you messed up or your timing was a little off, it still allows you to get that shadow counter. And then the 10 additional frames basically make it so that it's easier to punish on whiff, which is a smart thing because it should be a very reaction kind of move. The other thing I didn't go over, and I really want to go over this one, is the grounded heavy normals that now ignore armor. This is a big change to characters like Thunder, like Ognos, like TJ. The reason this is a big change to them is because, if you didn't know, TJ has a move called Power Line that allows him to go across the screen with one hit of armor. Ognos is completely made up of armor, and Thunder's Triple X Shadow move actually has armor on it. So the reason this is a big change is because, and from what I've heard and what Keith said, is the reason they did this was because not Maya, Kim Woo actually had a incredibly terrible time against Ognos. Incredibly terrible. And I can see that. characters like Rash, characters like Saberwolf already have a pretty tough time against him. And Kim Woo is no exception to that. So finding out that they decided that they would have to do something that made it a little easier for her to actually damage the big bulking behemoth. So what they did was they implemented the grounded heavy normals that now ignore armor. This is a big change because it changes the way that Aghanos players and Thunder players and TJ players are actually going to have to play, especially at a range, because what essentially does is, like, let's say TJ is power lining, he's always power lining using heavy. Now you could block it and punish him off of it. But why do that when you can literally sweep his ass? Even though he has armor, you can sweep his ass and get an Oki off of it now. And especially at range, when he's coming in and he's just power lining all the time, it's easier to punish technically. And that's what changes in the way that TJ has to be played. It's the same with Thunder. Thunder's triple axe actually, Shadow triple axe actually covers a lot of ground, but it has armor. So if you decide to punish it off of on whiff or on block, sometimes you can mess up, you know, depending on the online or, you know, whatever. But that was the big deal about it, was that you can actually, now you can do the same thing. You can sweep him, you can hit him out of it, you know, so on and so forth. And it's the same with Aghanos, where not only in the neutral, because he's all nothing but armor, you can hit him now if you hit him with a heavy attack, or I know it's a little hard to stuff, but if he starts rolling, you can actually try and stuff that with the heavy normal attacks now. It's a little harder to stuff, but you can still do it. Other than that, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the normalized frame advantage. So the normalized frame advantage leaves you +2 on lights, light doubles, medium doubles leave you +3, and heavy doubles leave you +5. This is not a really big change. Personally, it's just a thing that I wanted to quip about. Is because I like the way that the frame advantage and now the buffer check needed to be there for all characters, but the frame advantage for the doubles that all characters have are the same now. I don't like it as much because it makes every character not feel as unique, especially in combos, but it does make it easier for people who are new to actually get into literally every character. And that's the big change they wanted. Now, for me, it was just one of those personal things where I kind of have a gripe about it, because I really liked how, like, Thunder felt and certain characters felt, and, you know, so on and so forth. But now it's just going to be more about the gameplay that really makes them shine, instead of the way that you have to combo into their stuff, you know. Other than that, there's really nothing else that I have to go over. They're pretty self-explanatory, and I went over them all the big ones. So technically, what does this do for KI? This whole patch really changes the way KI from season 1. It basically, essentially, the best way to explain it is it went back to season 1 by adding new stuff. So what I mean by that is season 1 was a very neutral heavy game. It was very like, oh, you whiffed this, now I'm gonna punish it. Oh, you fucked up this, I punish this now. And, like, that's what it was. Now in season 3, not only is there more opportunities for mix-up, more opportunities for custom combos, especially aerial combos, but you have the ability to reset the neutral and make it a neutral heavy game once again, which is great, because that's what most fighters should be, instead of a shit show of I'm just gonna run everywhere and fucking do supers and specials, and people who don't know how to punish them don't fucking get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what season, not in my opinion, but in a lot of situations, or at least if you see some players, that's what it was. It was a very, like, I'm gonna do supers everywhere and you can't hit it or something, you know. This resets everything back to neutral, and what that changes is basically the pacing of the game. But in my opinion, and from what I've seen, I've seen literally every single exhibition there has been about Killer Instinct season 3 since, you know, they said, hey, we're doing a stream about it. The pacing is actually a lot faster, because what it does is, from off of Okis that make you sit on the floor for a second, off of combo breakers that leave you in the air for a second and then leave you on the floor for a second, you're instantly set back to neutral, and from there you start over again. So not only is it a lot faster, it still hits about the same, you know, 15% here, 10% here on damage nerfs isn't a big thing, but what this, like I said before, it makes, actually legit makes the pace faster, but it makes people play at a range now, because at a range, if you get a stagger ability, you're able to get a combo off this guy, and it's really cool to see. If you haven't seen any of the Season 3 exhibitions, I really highly recommend you guys going to see that. Other than that, that's basically it for the systems. The next thing we're going to be going into is Jago, and like I said before, we're going to be going through all of his nerfs, all of his buffs. We'll talk about a general overview of him, as well as what the nerfs and buffs do to him, and then after that, we'll just keep going through all the characters every episode after that. So other than that, guys, that's basically it. Thank you all for stopping by. If you liked this video or if you disliked it, put that in there. If you have any critiques or positive things, leave those in the comments, as well as like, favorite, subscribe. You know the drill. But show's over, guys. My name's Manu. Thanks for coming in, and I hope to see you in the next video and in Season 3. Peace.